lights will come on in a moment. So just breathe in and be receptive. Thank you, Carlos. I first met Reverend Felicia Searcy when I served, and she served the Unity Movement in the Southeast region. There are 9 regions of Unity. We live in the Southwest region, but when I met Felicia, she was the Reverend in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I was in Panama City, Florida. So I knew at once that here was a woman of depth and certainty.
You share what I wrote about you.
Oh, dang. All right. Reverend Felicia Searcy first met Reverend Suzanne several years ago when they both sounded so dry. When they served in the ministry.
I'm going to introduce me for a second. When I first met Suzanne, I fell in love. Truly. I remember we were, at some training. It was down in Florida. You were in Panama City, and there was just such light and depth and deep commitment then. And you can just see that it continues to reverberate. And it's just such an honor to be here serving you again and serving this community.
This is your introduction.
I get it, but...
So I changed it a little. But anyway, let me share what she's doing professionally. She pioneered, of course, a wonderful church in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and was their senior minister for 15 years. She is now a speaker, a trainer, an award-winning transformational life coach, and we have studied her book right here called Do Greater Things with Jesus Teachings. We studied it for an Easter season. And I remember being in the Unity bookstore, and you were dressed modestly, and you were very quiet. Do you remember? But I put my arm around you, and I said, this is just the beginning, Felicia. You are so much more than just this book. Pardon us why we have this little picture back in time, who we were and how we met. But so I followed your work. But here's the impactful thing, is what she does, and in her coaching now, that she has grown her business. Now, those of you who are in the business of life, how would you like to grow who you are by 800% in the next 3 years? That's a phenomenal statistic. What'd you say, Linda?
We'd need a bigger lot.
We need. So, and that's what today is going to be about, a bigger life. So Felicia now lives a rich, abundant life in Thousand Oaks, California, with her husband, Michael, of 26 years. Won't you help me warmly welcome Reverend Felicia Searcy? Your dream is your gift. Searcy.
Yes, very modest and very quiet, no longer. Good morning, everybody. It is such a joy to be here with you this morning. So, to get started, I'm going to encourage everybody to pull out a piece of paper and a pen, because I've got a couple of questions for you that I want you to answer. So,
Write on your bulletin.
yeah, just write on your bullets and just get a pen out. First question. I want you to think back to the beginning of 2013, either December 2012 or January 2013. Very similar to what we're doing now. We're still at the beginning of 2014. We're in 2015. So think back to the beginning of 2014. And I want you to go back and think about what your goal was, what your desire, what your vision was. And we're going to deal specifically with your financial vision. You guys are getting ready to step into Prosperity Plus, which deals with a full spectrum life and addresses I make up words as I go along, so just hang with me. A specific financial goal as well. So think back to the beginning of 2014. What was your financial desire? Write that figure down. Note if you didn't have a goal. Write down that, you know what, I didn't really give it any thought. I didn't write a goal for my finances at the beginning of 2014. You got something for Priscilla? So put a figure down, something, whether it was I'm just repeating what I did in 2013, or this is my goal for 2014. Now, I want you, we lived 2014, right? 2014 went by. We are now in 2015. Every single one of you are still breathing. So, as you know, one of the things that I've had the honor of over the last 4.5 years is studying deeply and very personally with Mary Morrissey. And her voice is in my head that if we keep breathing another 365 days, we're going to live a life. We're going to live a year. So you all lived 365 days. Now look at what your 2014 result was. Write down what your 2014 result was. And note that if you didn't have an intention for your finances around 2014, you still had a result. You still had a result. So what was your result for 2014? Now notice if there's any discrepancy, if there's any gap between what your desire was and what actually happened in time, space, reality, or note if there were or were not any major differences if you did not set an intention for yourself financially. Here's the thing I love about this, and this is one of those lessons that I'm bringing into 2015 with me. What you wrote down or didn't write down, that was your intended desire. That was your intended expectation. Reverend Suzanne used the word expectation several times through her meditation. That was your intended expectation. It was your intended desire. What actually manifested, that was your real desire, and that was your real expectation. Christian Larson in the Optimist Creed talks about how we will never receive more than what we really desire. We will never receive more than what we really expect. And desire and expectation are truly one and the same. How have I come to know this? I mean, this landed like, boom! It is one of those things that just landed down to my absolute tippy toes as I finished up 2014. Because one of the things that I've learned as I have stayed in a highly structured system of support, learning a formula and learning how to apply it consistently, is I am continuing to learn how to vision effectively. That true visioning is a very specific skill that very few people have been taught. And then I'm still continuing to learn to put on the woman that's living from the vision. That woman lives very differently than the woman who lived 2013 or 2014. You guys with me? You with me? Yes. Come on, Yucaipa. Let me hear you all. So one of the things that I do as I build my relationship with the vision and build my relationship with the woman living the vision is that twice daily I physically write out my vision as a journal entry from December 31st. And so every day I wrote out, I am so happy and grateful. December 31st, 2014. This was all through 2014. Wow, let me tell you about my year. Now at the beginning of the year I had a solid vision. And I put it in a financial number, understanding that every single penny that flows into my bank account represents somebody who made an investment in themselves and is living a richer, fuller life. Because they're learning a formula that as you apply, you cannot help but live a richer, fuller life. Here's the thing. I watched as I look back and I look at what my results are. And by the way, you know, as Reverend Suzanne shared, my results within 3 years were 800% compared to what I was doing before I first got started with this. That's pretty good. In my book, that's pretty good. I was aiming for 1,000%. I wanted a 10 times increase in 3 years, knowing that that was the number of people that I could impact. And so I'm looking at my results, and I'm feeling good about my results, but I'm also seeing the discrepancy, realizing that that number represented people that I did not have an opportunity to serve because I backed up. I backed up. It had nothing to do with them. I backed up. Because what I realized over the year, I remember, and I could see it. It was there in black and white in my journal. Those times I backed off of that big, bold vision. I backed off of that big, bold dream, and I physically wrote a lower number. Yes, yes, I physically wrote a lower number. And here's what happened. I allowed voices to get in the way. I allowed myself to feel doubt. I allowed the opinions of others. If things weren't going the way that I thought that they were supposed to go, that there wasn't the momentum that I thought it was supposed to have, I'm clicking. I let all of that influence what I was expecting. And when I look at what I wrote over the year, my lowest number of expectation is what I demonstrated in time-space reality. Is that not just the most freeing thing that you guys have ever heard? I have been studying this stuff for over 3 decades, and it's just like, it's like a brand new world has opened up for me. And this is what I am on fire and helping you understand. Because here's the thing, as we understand that what we expect is what we manifest, then it behooves us to understand how to increase and maintain with the power of our will that expectation. That's what I'm up to this year. You guys get organization. It was a 6-time increase in the level of contribution compared to the red carpet networking event. That was a mighty leap for me. Because I'm looking around and I'm seeing what I did historically. I'm looking what I did at the beginning of the year. And I'm thinking, okay, this is not a match. But the idea landed so deeply. It was like, you know, and for me to back up and say, this is not a prudent decision, is to say, this is what I am expecting. Expectation, actions match expectation. So with a big breath and with every ounce of partnership with invisible substance and saying, all right, I'm doing this, you better deliver kind of thing. You know, but it's up to me to stay in that vibrational alignment. So at that point, it had nothing to do with the organization, which, by the way, money is never a money issue. It's always a spiritual issue. It was, how am I partnering with invisible substance right now? What am I expecting? And what's my action that is going to reflect my expectation of my degree of impact as evidenced by my income? I did that. Now, I stayed 10%. And by the way, the next couple of months, it zoomed for me. It zoomed for me. And I did that several other times during the year, stretched into what I wanted as an expectation. And when I look back over the year, now again, it wasn't, I wavered, but still the outcome more than demonstrated what I had originally expected in terms of my tithing, in terms of my contribution patterns. And so what I realized is that there is a direct correlation between what I create, the level of study, and specifically in this conversation, my giving patterns. That my giving patterns are a direct reflection, my broadcast to the universe around what is it that I expect. Okay, so, and then there's a whole lot of other stuff that we're going to get into much deeper this afternoon, but I want to wrap this up. So one of the things I have challenged for, oh, I know what I wanted to share. So now, I loved that experiment. I loved that experiment so much that now I got my next degree experiment. So here's my next degree experiment. I am deeply committed to serving Unity Ministries, deeply committed to serving our New Thought community. And that when I come in, I want people well served and I want the community well served. And so as the woman who serves at this level, I thought, okay, so what can I do? It's like, you know what? I now, for 2015, I'm gifting the workshop. So instead of having the percentage that we typically do when I go do a workshop, I encourage people to step into your level of expectation, and 100% of anything and everything that comes into the workshop, it is my gift back to Unity of Yucaipa. Because I want to know what it feels like to be able to go in and give. Just give the workshop, because I love to do it, and to see the community increase and prosper as a result. That's my experiment. So I'm just going to encourage you all, as you've got a look on your brow. As you all, and the thing that I loved is that the last church I was in, generated $1,100 in that workshop, and 100% of it went back to their building fund. Is that not just the coolest thing? And we get to make a decision about how we're going to relate to this invisible substance, and what's the communication that we're putting in terms of what is it that we expect. So here's our invitation for all of us, as we are dreaming big and we are dreaming bold, is to begin to think into who is the man, who is the woman living at this level, because you can't take your 2014 self into your new 2015 dream. And specifically for this conversation, what's the giving pattern for that man? What are the giving patterns for that woman? And step into that degree of expectation with invisible substance. We're going to get much deeper into the formula that I learned this afternoon. I just encourage you, even those of you who have taken Prosperity Plus, again, I am deeply grateful that I've had the honor and continue to work with Mary as closely as I have, so I bring, I think, a level of perspective that is, you just can't work that closely with somebody and not have it rub off. So if you think you've heard it before, I'm going to encourage you to stay humble to the law and come hear what you have not heard. The great thing about being an adult is that some of you guys may think you've got plans, but I'm going to really encourage you to change your plans. That even if, that you will hear something that I've applied consistently will cause you to change your life. You are being offered an opportunity to stay in a highly structured system of support with Prosperity Plus. Sign up. There's not a single reason in the world that you can come up with not to participate in that. Sign up for Prosperity Plus. Deeply engage yourself with it. Really celebrate your wins along the way, as you guys do together, which I think is fabulous. Because here's the thing, as we do this, as we do it, we are living lives that we love. And in my head, that when we have a planet, a universe of people living lives that they love, from universal law, that deep sense of well-being, because that's really what it's about, truly, this is the kingdom of heaven here on earth. God bless everybody. See you this afternoon.